No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey gardeners, hope you're all having a great week out in your garden. I'm out here kind of checking out. We still got a bunch of tomatoes. This is probably one of the spaces that I haven't paid that much attention to, and kind of gets me thinking as we are fastly approaching summertime about what can I do to improve this space when it comes to growing next season so that I can get more out of it. And that's kind of where we are right now as our summer season is rolled into fall and we are winding down and now starting to plan and think about next year's garden. So I hope you've got lots of great plans, great ideas, and all that sort of stuff that you're thinking about for your garden. And yeah, let's start thinking about a really great gardening year this 2025. All right, let's get growing. All right. Welcome all of my favorite passionate gardeners and garden enthusiasts, and yeah, welcome to the Let's Get Growing show right here on the Urban Gardener channel. My name's Enoch. I'm your host today, and we've got a really great show ahead for you today. Today, we're going to be talking with Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company's Ryan Schumacher. He's going to be with us here just a little bit later on, talking with us right from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. And that's going to be a really fun conversation. If anybody is familiar with Baker Creek's social media and all of that, you've seen Ryan many times on all of their reels promoting Baker Creek and all the different great different heirloom seeds and plants and things that you can grow from the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company catalog, which is really amazing. I'm waiting for mine to show up in the mail here anytime now, hopefully, so I can get digging in and seeing what they've got growing on for this next season. They always got really great ones. And if anybody ever sees in the right here in the background, I got all mine from all previous years. I think I got almost every single one of their whole seed catalogs, but everybody loves to get into the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company whole seed catalog. And again, like I said, if you've seen any of their social media, Ryan Schumacher is really kind of fun and all of that. So we're going to have a great conversation with him. And also here in just a couple of minutes as well, too, we're going to be talking with Brooke Morgan from At What Brooke Grows, and we'll talk with her and dig into all of the things about her garden and all of that sort of stuff. So look forward to that conversation here in just a minute. But I do want to make sure that if you're here right here at the top of the show, definitely click that thumbs up, hit the like button, and also if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you can be notified of all of our upcoming episodes and videos and live streams, all that sort of stuff. So definitely do that and share with all of your friends. Let them know about the Let's Get Growing show, the Urban Gardener, and everything. And that would be really awesome if you did that. I always appreciate it when you guys share out and let everybody else know about what we've got growing on here. So always awesome shows every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, make sure that you come and join with us each and every weekend here on the Urban Gardener channel. And also, big, huge shout out to all of you who are following us or watching us on the replays. I know that a lot of you don't have the time to get here with us live, and it's always great to have all of our live guests and viewers and all of that here, but it's also really awesome to have all of you who watch us on the replays here on YouTube. It's really great. And if you can jump into the comment section down below. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you've got growing on. I love to hear about your gardens. I love to hear about all the things that's growing on at your place, and let me know about all of that. If you have any comments, questions, or anything as well too, or if you just want to say hi, just say hi. Jump into the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from anybody here as well too. So Definitely, definitely. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that here, and you are here with us live, then get into our chat here and join the discussion. We got really, really a lot of great people here and viewers who join with us live and all of that. And the discussion's always fun. But if you do have a question, put it into big capitals, all caps, and that way I can see the questions from the regular conversation, and that way I can hopefully make sure I get that on the show, especially with our guests that we have coming up here too. So we also have links down below. We have links down below to all of our guests here on the show. So if you're here watching our shows, definitely jump into the links below. Go check out some of the things that our guests are doing as well too. It's really awesome if you guys go over to their channels and see one of their recent videos or reels or posts or something like that, and go jump in the comments over there and let them know that you saw them here at the Let's Get Growing show. That would be really, really awesome. I love it when you guys do that. So definitely get into those links down below. Also, if you didn't catch last week's show, you want to go and check out last week's show. Last week we had on with us Marcus Bridgewater from Garden Marcus. We had such a really awesome conversation with Marcus. He is, I love watching his reels and his social media and everything. He is like a real, I call him an inspirationalist. And he just really knows how to inspire. He's just got a good way about him. And he's also written a couple of books and all of that. And we've really dug into all of that and talked about his gardening and plant growing journey and everything. And he's probably one of the guests that have gotten closest to my background. I mean, he had a real jungle behind him too. It was pretty cool. So go back and check that interview out last week. It was really great to talk to him. And also we had back on the show with us our good friend Joe Kozlowski from over at Garden State Gardener and Grow Big TV. They put on a cool little live stream over there, and he does some great live streams from Garden State Gardener as well too. So we had him back on. He'd kind of taken a little break away from doing some of that stuff, but he's been back on lately, back doing some live streams. So it was great to have him back on the show and get to talk with him as well too. You got to check out, we again, like I said, are here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Say that again for everybody. But we also, again, like I said, are here every Sunday too for our Sunday edition. And we also had with us last week on the show, we had the plant techie Josh Gardens and Desiree from Gardening with Des on, and that was a really fun conversation. I've been really enjoying doing these garden roundtables, and because again too, we get to have so many awesome guests who get to join with us, sometimes for the first time on our show or some other featured guests and stuff. But it's a really great way to kind of get them back to come back for a nice longer fun conversation with the three of us all together, just talking about whatever and gardening and kind of whatever's going on and all of that. And it's just a really fun conversation, and we've had some really, really great ones. Last week was really great, like I said, with Josh and Desiree. But the week before too, this is one, and I don't usually go back the week before, but I have to with this one because this was a really great conversation. You'll want to go back and check this one out for sure. If you haven't seen any of our gardening roundtables before, you'll want to go back and check this one out, because we had on the show with us and back too on the show too. This is again a great way to have our guest who's been on and featured on the show back with us, Mark Valencia from Self-Sufficient Me, and we had Nate Mary again too. He's a good friend and been on a few different times with us here from Garden Like a Viking. So that was a really great fun conversation. It was really cool to bring those two together as well too, and we talked about all sorts of great gardening, really great gardening information, because if anybody knows these guys, they are very smart. They know what they're talking about when it comes to growing. And again, it was just really great to, again, get together with Mark, because when it comes to the gardening community and all these different great gardening YouTube channels that I've gotten to watch over the years, Mark has been one of my favorites since the very beginning. He's someone I've kind of looked up to when it comes to making content and putting myself out there when it comes to YouTube and all of that. So it's really great that he's actually been very supportive of our show and been on as a featured guest and then came back for that roundtable, and we'll have him back again too, maybe for the flip of the season too, because that's so fun with that conversation, is we got to talk a bit about how we're going into winter and he's going into summer. So it's kind of cool to get that contrast of seasons and everything. So maybe we'll have him back on for the other flip side of that here as well. So great conversations right here on Let's Get Growing, and we want to get on and have some really more great conversations here as well too. So real quick though, I do got to get on here and acknowledge a lot of you who are spending your time with me this weekend, spending your time joining the conversation. And I see everybody's already got a really great chat going on. Everybody's been talking and all of that. And talking about Australia and having Mark on the show, let's welcome, because he's always first in too as well too. He gets up nice and early from Australia. We got Rick joining us from Australia and joining us from the future, basically. All right, Rick, it's so great that you get up early. Thank you so much for being here with us. We've got to say hi to first our facilitator, Jay Dixon, joining with us from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much, Jay, for joining with us here today. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for what you do too. And if anybody needs any information throughout the conversation in the chat there, Jay will be dropping in links and all of that too, so be sure to take advantage of that and click on some of those links and check out like everybody else's channels and stuff. If you got a channel there, shout out your channel as well in the chat, and Jay will make sure to get a nice link out there to everybody as well too, so that we can support your channels and as well. Right on. Thanks, Jay, for joining with us. We got Adam joining with us also from right down the road. Adam's my neighbor, so great to have you join with us, Adam. And let's see here. Who else do we got with us? We got Sam. Right on, right on. Sam joined with us. He says, this live looks like it's going to be good. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. We've got a couple of really great guests here. And I know, I'm sorry, I'm also kind of running a little bit late too. I know everybody, that's probably why I'm so behind on the chat as well, because I've been rushing to kind of get a few things together to get the show together today. So I was running a little bit late. Right on, everybody. Let's see here. Right on. And it looks like we've got Rob joining with us here. Oh, there we are. Rob joining with us from the UK there. Rob's Allotment Gardening. I dig Rob's channel, man. He's got a great vibe to him in his channel and everything. He's really good. I like kind of, if I want to visit England and all of that, Rob's got a cool little channel and talking about gardening. You should all go and check that out. All right. Excellent. Like I said, looks like everybody's really having a great conversation. Jersey Girl, thank you for joining with us again. Great to have you here. Awesome. All right. Okay, let's see here. Big Will Dog. Right. Excellent. He's got a new channel he's rolling with right now, so we should also get him a link up too, so people can go check out what he's got going on. And let's see here. I see we got Garden State Gardener. Right on. Good to see you, Joe. Thanks for joining back with us. Was just talking about you on the show last week. Thanks for coming back over, checking out everything here. And great to see everybody. So right on, let's get moving along here. Like I said, we got a great guest coming up here for our first segment. So let's get in here on our first break, and I'll see you guys in just a minute, and then we'll get to talking with Brooke Morgan. Let's Get Growing is sponsored by IV Organic.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants and author Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Sarah's Seed Shop, here with this week's trivia question. Which of the following is a variety of winter squash? A. Kusa, B. Chayote, C. Patty Pan, or D. Boston Marrow? We'll be back with the answer a little later in the show.
All right. You got the answer to this week's trivia question. Sarah's Seed Shop, sarahseedshop.com. Remember to go and check her out as well too. We got a link right down below in the description, so you can go over and check out what she's got to offer for your garden this next year for 2025. She's got lots of great essential seeds for your garden. So, and also, I'm telling you, you're not going to find a better value than what you can get from Sarah's Seed Shop. So, again, if you got the answer to the trivia question this week, put it in the chat there as well, and then we'll catch up with Sarah here in just a little bit after our conversation here coming up, and find out the answer. And right on. And again, thank you everybody for jumping in and joining in with me here today. And if you are joining in with us and watching live right now, definitely jump into the chat, say hi, and jump into the conversation. And again, if you got any questions or anything like that, put them in nice big bold capital letters there so I can see the questions. And I definitely have any questions for our guests and all of that too, and we'll try to get them on the show here. So, all right, let's jump right into it. Let's see who we're following this week.
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. Joining with us today from @WhatBrooke Grows, we've got Brooke Morgan here. All right, Brooke. Thanks for joining with us today.
Hello. You can hear me good?
Yeah. Excellent.
Perfect.
Sounds great. Right on. So again, thank you for joining with us today. Really love having first time. This, you said what you were saying right before we got started. This is the first time doing something like this. So this is awesome to have you here for your first time getting out. And again, too, great stuff that you have. I love your videos, your content, and all of that. So you've been on my list to make sure you get on the show here. And thank you for taking your time today.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm really excited. It's I've done content for a long time, but in terms of I recorded my first podcast a couple of weeks ago. I've never done anything live. Yeah. So all of the wonderful people I've been watching the comments stream in, just if I do or say something silly, just you guys all seem perfect. Really kind, so just know that this is I'm a first timer here.
yeah, excellent, right on. Yeah, it's great to have you here. Let's jump right into your garden journey. It's one of the things we love to talk about here, is kind of how did all of your passion for gardening and growing start? I mean, was it early on in life, or is this something you came to later?
Yeah, so I have very distinct memories. My mom grew up in Southern California and I was born in Arizona. And so I have these very distinct memories of really fresh strawberries and avocados. And they lived in Santa Paula, California. And so that's a very agricultural part of California, and especially was in the 90s. And so I have so many wonderful memories of just really good produce. And then we moved around a lot and then ended up in Ohio at some point. I saw somebody at some point say Toledo. So if that's Toledo, Ohio, shout out, because that's where right about where we were. And my mom started a very small garden and grew like the most amount of zucchinis ever.
Right.
Like it was ridiculous. I remember her like pulling these massive zucchinis and making zucchini bread. And like we were eating zucchini bread like well into the winter. It was honestly that's a very strong memory. And then I didn't kind of circle back around to gardening until I live in Austin, Texas. I'm in Central Texas.
Okay.
And I work in tech because it's the Silicon Valley of the South. It's just I have a corporate 9-to-5, and I was working in a high rise and just not really feeling very connected to anything other than a screen. And so I found this community garden that was right across the freeway from my office. And I'm kind of like a dive into deep water kind of gal. I'm not really, I like to say I'm more of like I dive into the pool. I don't really go into the beach, which I'm not a gradual kind of person. I really kind of jump in. I don't have a lot of preservation in that way. But anyways, I got a 10-by-20 garden plot at a community garden and learned a lot from a lot of garden elders. And then just over the years, that progressed from like, we had a rental house. So I built a little temporary backyard garden, and then we bought our house. And now I have the whole thing I've been dreaming about, and so that's kind of how it all happened.
Right on. That's great. I love it. And so you kind of gradually kind of got into this experience and everything, and it's really great. Tell me a little bit how some of those first gardens were that you were doing and all of that. Tell me kind of what do they consist of? Did you just, like you said, you kind of just jump into it? And I'm sure a lot of other gardeners are familiar too with that sense that we'd get in, we grow like the first thing and then something pops and we're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then boom, you're doing everything, that you possibly can get a hold of. Your seed collections are full of more things than you can ever grow, but it's it's like collecting cards when we were younger, totally. So was that kind of experience, like you said, you just dive into things?
Yeah. And it's funny, one of my favorite stories from the community garden, I kind of, I was living in an apartment, so it's just like herbs and pots and, it wasn't always, but once I got to the community garden, I'll never forget, there was an older man named Paul and, small guy, older, and he was 2 plots over from me, and he just grew the most beautiful things. And so I had just started, we had just gotten the plot cleared, all this stuff. And I got a 6-cell pack of Brussels sprouts from Home Depot or whatever.
Right.
And I planted them, and I planted them maybe 3 inches apart. I mean, just packed them in there. And he just walks over to me and he goes, "Those aren't going to grow." I'm like, oh, okay.
Just blunt honesty, right?
And I was like, you got any more? You got any more? Any more wisdom?
That's right. Yeah.
And, so he ended up being a good garden friend, and I used to give him a cherry tomato plant every year, and he would get really excited about it. So we ended up becoming good friends. But I would do stuff like that a lot, where I would be like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this one plant, and I'm not really going to do enough research about it. I'm just going to trial by fire. But I think that's how I learned so much so quickly, was because I just failed a lot. Just a lot at first.
And again, that's the garden experience. You gotta, when you're just jumping right into things, same for me and all of that. And I always tell people that's gotta be one of the first things you've got to expect, is that take the failures for what they are, great learning experiences and everything, and don't let it, because I hear people all the time talking about like, oh, I just can't get this right, or I can't get it, and then they want to give up. And it's like, well, you know what, most all of us kind of go through that initially. And again, I think it really comes down to is really, jumping right in and getting and wanting it. For me, in a sense, was I wanted to grow everything. I grew a cucumber and found that success of doing that. And then next thing you know, I'm growing 20, 30 different things and trying to do as much as I can. And I started myself with an apartment balcony. That's
Okay.
where the first cucumber grew. So I know that experience, you know, and when I moved to this other place and literally it was like the next year. So I was just fill this whole back patio out with all these containers and build all these things and just went crazy on it. And so again, wasn't very many successes there in the first few seasons because I was just trying to do everything, but it was great. It was fun. And I learned a lot. And, you know, and the gardens definitely benefit from that learning experience.
Well, and I think it's so normalized to learn when we're younger, but then as adults, it's like, oh, well, you should just like know everything. And it's that's a strange concept to me. Like when kids are learning a new sport or something, it's so understood that they're going to fail. Like, you know, they're going to fail. But all of a sudden, when you're an adult, there's like this weird pressure that you're going to do something for the first time and you're going to be so good at it. And it's like I don't know. It's just so, I find that part of it so interesting. And I have a big group of friends. None of them are gardeners, which is how I ended up on the internet with gardening, is because I needed like some kind of vessel to like get out all this energy. And
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, all of my friends who are they're like, I just don't understand how you're so good at this. And I'm like, the amount of plants that have not survived me is so large, but they just, all they see is the successes. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's something I feel very passionately about, is like giving people the motivation to just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's going to be okay if you fail. There's another plant at the store that you can go buy. It's not the end of the world. You know?
Yep. Exactly. Get it figured out for sure. And for me, even like with vegetable gardening and all of that, I had the kind of advantage of already growing plants. I've been growing indoor plants actually since I was a little kid. And so that was a huge learning curve for me, because it was completely different going from growing these indoor ones to outdoor things and growing for food. But yeah, it's gardening's fun, and part of that fun is the failure too, because I tell people the same thing too. I've killed so many plants, and that's just part of the experience.
Yeah.
I love how you get good at growing them.
I just saw in the chat, hide the failures in the compost pile. Ain't that the truth?
That's right.
That's right. Just throw them in the compost bin. Nobody will know. It'll be
right.
It'll be okay.
Exactly. Yep. That's what, you know, and also too, what I really love about what you're talking about in your experience as well is getting involved with community gardens too. That's one of the things that's really kind of fun, you know, is also to have and build those types of relationships. Because I remember some of those very same experiences with other gardeners that I got to grow with, you know, and be able to learn from, and also pass that to others who are also learning as well too. Because community gardening is a good way to, you know, kind of, for one, you know, socialize us to our neighborhood and our community, and get to know new people who share our interests. Because again, like you said, we got not only them who get the brunt of our garden passion and all of that, you know, we got also, again, throw ourselves out to everybody on YouTube, and you know, for me, create a whole show over it and everything too, because the creative part of me wants to just really get rolling with everything involved with the gardening. But I love that experience, and I love sharing those stories with people as well too. So, you know, you got any other great kind of community garden experience stories at all?
I do, yeah, a couple. So another one at my old community garden, and I was there for years. I mean, I just loved it. One of the ladies, she was two plots to my left, and Paul was 2 plots to my right. Sorry, I'm like, I can envision it in my head. So the woman that was 2 plots to my left was this like woman in her 90s who was Mandarin, and she didn't speak English. I mean, so she would see me doing something, and she would just straight take the hose out of my hand, like, and be like, no, like, don't do this. And she would show me what to do instead. And it was some of this. Oh my God! One time I was watering my tomatoes at the base of, so you don't get the leaves all wet to prevent blah, blah, whatever. And her daughter was there, and her daughter speaks English and would translate for her when she was there. And so her daughter goes, she's trying to tell you that it doesn't rain at the bottom of the plant. It rains from the sky. And I was like, well, that just makes a lot of sense. How do you argue with that? You don't. Exactly. You say, okay, Shuli, you're right. Yes, that's, and so that's one of my favorites. And I've got, stories about her for forever. But she was really great. But then the other thing, and this is one of my new favorite stories to tell, you never know when your gardening connections are going to come back around. So at my rental house, there was a man and his wife who lived across the street from us. And they knew we were renters. We rented for a couple of years, but they were still nice enough to introduce themselves. And he's a veteran. And my family has a large military background, and he just came over and introduced himself to us one day. He was really sweet. And then he saw me hauling, and me and my now fiance hauling compost and mulch into the backyard. And so he comes up one day and he goes, "Do you have a garden back there?" And I was like, "Hey, Jake, yeah, you want to see it?" And so I showed him, and then he showed me. He had a big garden in his backyard, which you don't see from the front of your house,
Right.
And
that's right.
So that was probably, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And over the summer, he got in touch with me and said, "Hey, I just became in charge of a community garden at a Veterans for Foreign Wars post in Austin, and I want you to come help me." And I kind of said, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting married in 6 months. I don't know if I can commit enough time for this."
Right.
A real secret garden it was. But anyways, so I went down there for the first time, and everybody was so nice. And I'm just looking at this land, and there's so much potential just everywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, "Oh no, I'm gonna jump in, and I can't do that right now." I just don't have the time. And so it's actually been really wonderful, because I've been kind of consulting for them. That feels like a weird thing to say, but I've just been kind of helping them with things without necessarily being there all the time. But we actually just had a ceremony, and we dedicated the community garden to a fallen soldier named Captain Paul Pina. And we had a big dedication ceremony, and we're building more community garden plots for the spring. And we're going to have a big spring plant extravaganza. We're planting wildflower fields. We're almost kind of regenerating the land from being kind of like an empty 9 acres to being a place that people actually want to come spend their time. Because right now it doesn't really feel like that. So, it's just interesting. If I would have never talked to my next door neighbor and showed him my garden and us had that connection, then I would never be able to be where I'm at. And I've actually been teaching classes there for the last 4 months. I have my next class coming up next weekend. And I've been teaching, and veterans come, and people from my Instagram come, and it's just this big, awesome, community of people wanting to learn, which is really cool.
That's so amazing. And again, too, I love that stuff. I love the fact that, community gardening and all of that. I really, truly believe, in all sorts of aspects of gardening and everything, because I completely nerd out on it. And I don't know if you know the garden nerd, Christy Wilhelmi. She wrote a book called Garden Variety.
Oh, yes.
If you haven't read that book, you got to check it out. We did a nice, fun interview with her earlier this year for our Book of the Month Club and everything. And just a great story about a community garden as well, too. So it's kind of fun, for us to be able to take that and share that with people within our communities and help build community as well, too, around gardening, because it's a great experience. It's a good experience where we can connect with almost anybody, because I think even new people if you can convince them to get in, find it, and that's a good way for them to channel into gardening as well, because it's so easy to get addicted and to growing, and especially if you got good people around you. So let's talk real quick here. What are some of your gardening challenges? What are some things that you kind of find give you issues maybe from
Yeah.
season to season, even, something that, because I got many things that I just for some reason, I don't know why my mind just can't wrap around certain things, because maybe some
Yeah.
years I'm, whatever, there's other outside things, I'm busier or whatever, and maybe I'm not paying as much attention to certain things, and so I'm destined for failure. But it seems to happen for me in certain things though,
Yeah.
too, for me, like broccoli, just I've had a season or two where it was okay, but
Yeah.
for the most part I'm, but it's my personal challenge. What's some of yours?
Yeah, I think the for us really in Central Texas, the weather and how absolutely unpredictable it can be.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to just ignore every person that knew what they were talking about, and I was going to plant my citrus trees that I had been loving on in pots for years. I had just been nurturing them, and I brought them inside when it got cold, and all these things. And I decided I was going to put them in the ground, and that the cold was simply not going to come for me or my citrus trees. There was just no way that I would fall victim to that.
Yeah.
And that went about as well as anybody thought, and all my citrus trees died. And so
Oh,
I had to, and it was like 4 of them, but I had
yes.
to, work smarter, not harder, and go get
Right.
some good cold tolerant citrus trees. And I replaced one with a pomegranate, and some plums. And so
Yeah.
really for me, it's the weather one way or the other. So like and Central Texas, I mean, weather
Yeah.
is changing, but Central Texas has always been kind of volatile because I lived here when I was a kid too. And
Mhm.
the weather just swings so dramatically. So
Yeah.
we can have ice storms and it can be 19 degrees for 3 days. And then the next week it's like 70 and sunny. And
Yeah.
those are just hard conditions for plants. We do experience drought cycles because of, we actually, in Central Texas, we get the same amount of rain, like in inches, as Seattle,
Oh,
Washington.
really?
You
Yeah.
can look it up. I'm not crazy,
Right, right,
but
right. I just lived in Seattle, so
yeah.
I know how much that is.
Yeah, and so but we get it like 5 inches at a time. So
Right.
we get it in like these big washes.
Downpours. Yeah.
Yeah, and so retaining that water or harvesting that water is, is a challenge. And our property that I'm on right now is sloped. So all the water just goes bye-bye. So that's definitely a challenge too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the extreme weather swings are a very large challenge for us.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest one. In terms of like individual plants, I finally found a good cucumber variety called the silver slicer.
Mhm.
That doesn't get bitter because it gets so hot here so quick that your
Ah,
cucumbers they look great. You pop one of those suckers in your mouth and you've never tasted anything worse. I
right.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's
I've
just
had it's not a good experience when you get a hold of one of those.
oh, it's not. But yeah, the silver slicer, if you struggle with heat, is
Ah,
the best. They will grow into the 90s. I don't know what that is Celsius, but well into the 90s, they will grow amazingly and they don't get bitter.
right on.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm gonna have to look at that one, Silver Slicer,
Yeah.
for sure. Because we get again too. It's similar story for me. Is such differences in the weather patterns and everything. I mean, it's changed so much in this area. Because when I moved here, what, 13 years ago or so, things were so much different, and in
Yeah.
that whole experience since then, I've seen in my gardening experience from season to season these different changes. So I'm sure that really plays a big part in some of how I'm not finding certain successes with certain things, because
Totally.
I'm having a harder time gauging those seasonal changes and everything. And those can be a challenge for anybody just because of how different things can be. I mean, this last summer, as warm as it was, was a bit different than the summer previously. So,
Yeah.
this year I found more successes again to finding also, like you're talking about with that cucumber, For me was, it was big growing tomatoes. The very beginning of the show, I'm showing, this back fence that used to be just full of so many different varieties of tomatoes. And I'd had these
Yeah.
just big, awesome plants, or, many years ago, but now I've had to move and had a bunch of problems weather-wise with growing them. I had to kind of transition and find some of those varieties that are actually going to deal with those conditions better.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the thing we got to do. I mean, we can't always, live in places where we can grow anything and everything out of the catalog. We
Yeah.
really got to be kind of focusing in on certain varieties for the weather conditions.
Yeah, and it's funny, my fiance knew nothing about gardening or anything when, I got super deep into this while we've been together a really long time. And so I would always say, oh, 2021 was a good onion year, or like 2022 was a good pepper year. And he finally was like, what do you mean? When you say that, what do you mean? I'm like, well, some years, it's just the soil's right, the sun is right, the rain is right.
Yeah.
Some years are just better than others. And a great example of that was this year. We had the cloudiest and rainiest May we have had in a really long time. And so here in Central Texas, your onions finish in
Right.
May, but they rely on daylight hours to actually make a bulb, to like bulb an
Yeah.
onion. So my onions were just, pathetic looking this year. And the humidity also for us in Central Texas with tomatoes, we really rely on a good May to put on a lot of flowers, because by the time we get into June and July, it's too hot for them to continue. They just get really stressed. And so because our May was so rainy and humid and cloudy, a lot of the blossoms just rotted right off. So you could see on the plants, the like bottom third were like, oh, tomatoes. And then the middle third were like, nothing. and then the top third were like, they started to put off a few blossoms again.
Yeah.
And it was just, so it's interesting kind of watching the weather and experience like Mother Nature and how it impacts stuff like that. I don't know. I'm going to be really grateful for my tomatoes next year, because man, they were not a fan of the weather we had.
Yeah. Again, too, it's just so different from season to season. We can only do the best that we can in trying to really kind of, forecast kind of what we can do and what we can look forward to based on what it was like the previous year. And again, too, that's, sometimes can't be the best gauge, because you might be dealing with some different conditions.
Yeah,
and
totally.
And some things will do a little better sometimes and won't. It's just kind of the deal when it comes down to it. So what was it really along the way of doing all of this gardening and all this sort of thing that you got inspired to start sharing with people online? This is kind of a big step too, as well, for some of us who, have channels and everything that I talk to, a lot, are, what is it that really kind of inspires you to kind of join in the, YouTube and Instagram and all of that, which you've actually done pretty well in, which is really great. So,
I think so. This is going to sound ridiculous in this forum, but I actually used to be a curly hair influencer.
Curly hair. Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole weird niche situation. I have naturally curly hair, and I was really broke, and I couldn't afford nice curly hair products, so I started a blog in 2016. And basically just emailed these curly hair brands and said, hey, I will write about your hair products if you send them to me. Which now that I'm looking back, I'm like, might not have been the most ethical thing I've ever done, but that's okay. And so basically I was going through this whole curly hair influencer, which is, again, looking back, weird thing to say. But people got really attached to my appearance, which felt really icky, and I didn't like it. And so I had started doing the community garden stuff, and I basically was like, I wonder, this is feeling gross. I don't like this anymore. I don't need all the free hair products. I think I'm going to start talking about my gardening. And so I would it didn't really start with formal videos and posts. It started more with stories and just showing people what I was doing. And then when 2020 hit and the mayhem that was 2020, I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm done talking about my appearance on the internet. I'm done with people having an opinion about the way my hair looks
Right.
that day, which, like, what a weird thing to think about now. Like, I'm done with all of this. I'm going to pivot my content. And so I pivoted the content, but the following, I mean, I lost tons of followers, which I was like, you know what, whatever, who cares? And that's when I started my YouTube channel, which if you guys go look at my YouTube channel, please don't judge me, because it's been a long year and like I have barely posted.
I know. I'm the same way this year. I've got a whole other editing software issue I'm trying to get figured out because I'm not that tech savvy.
Yeah.
So it takes me, I got a longer learning curve when it comes to new things and new versions of things that, it takes me a little bit. So I've been kind of slow on the on putting things out as well too. So I completely feel you there.
Well, and so I started sharing on YouTube. I did a weekly Friday vlog, and I just filmed everything I did that week. And I posted, my goal is to post every single week just to get in the habit of doing it. I did that and it was super fun. And then, I continued to post and was like exploring some things. And then my Instagram started to, turn around a little bit. And like, I was getting a little more gardeners there. And really just in the last, I would say 6 months is when my following on Instagram really increased a lot. And it's because I started making funny videos about how hard gardening is. And I basically started kind of making fun of myself, but also just like a lot of self-deprecating humor, which I think, it's great to have another video about how I start garlic, but at the end of the day, anybody can go find a video on how to plant garlic, but I just want people to feel like it's okay to mess up. And so I started making more videos kind of about that, and that felt a little more natural to me. So that's kind of I don't know that was the short version of how I started sharing, but once I started sharing and there was like this online community of people, I was like, oh, this is amazing, because if somebody's not into gardening, there's only so much time that they will talk to you about your 20 different heirloom tomato varieties that you're excited about. They're like, cool. Love that you do that. Would love to try one. But then it's like, there's a short attention span for that with like non-gardeners. Whereas like, that with this community, I mean, there's this wonderful chat just going, about people geeking out about types of cucumbers, and I'm looking at snapdragons, and like, it's just a great place to like really geek out on stuff like this.
Exactly. And that's what this is all about too. And again, it's for me was, about, I watched and just started my gardening experience because of trying to figure out some of these mistakes we started and opened with, and all that. I turned to a lot of these great YouTube gardeners, and we're talking, years ago, as the early videos of these guys, and just really saw, for one, a big attachment to that community of different people and everything. But I think one of the big things that later on came out of, the idea of me getting started, which I got started about the time you're getting started with the first online adventure that you had. That's how old this channel is, actually. Now that I think about it, it makes me think, wow, that was a while back ago. But yeah, it was really, one of my, initial ideas was like, I want to find a way where we can get together as different content creators and people who are putting out there, because there's so many wonderful people out there doing things like yourself and have all these great gardening journeys and everything too. So again, it's one of the things that makes this whole idea here so much fun, because we get to spend a few minutes on the weekends with each other and geek out and talk about this really great passion we have, for gardening. And it really kind of, shows in the content that you create, like you said, that, you can tell. And with most people out there doing that too, as well, that, we all just really, really love growing and gardening and everything too. So you got any advice or tips for newer gardeners besides, be aware that mistakes are going to happen, as we've already kind of covered, but that sort of thing. And then you can finish up too, and let everybody know what you might have coming up on your channel and all of that.
Yeah. So I think my biggest piece of advice, which this is very much a like do as I say, not as I do, but start small. Just because I did not.
Such a hard thing to do.
So hard because it's like my best and worst advice, because it's my best because I do think it's true. It's my worst because I didn't do it. And if you come ask me if you should go big or go home, I'm going to be like, where's the shovel? I'll help you. Like I will enable you to do everything I tell you not to do, because I just get so excited about it. Right. So that's my biggest piece of advice, especially for like, I've been doing this for years, and some of my friends are just now starting to be like, hey, so like if I were to plant some basil, and I'm like, let me help you. I'm like, do you want a whole garden?
Exactly.
But I think starting small and getting some confidence, like you were even talking about, like with the house plants, it's like you weren't completely new to plants, but it was very different. So just I think starting small is my biggest piece of advice. I mean, even my first community garden plot was 10 foot by 20 foot. And now I have like, I think last time I calculated, it's like over 300 square feet of growing space out there, like just veggie beds. So that's my biggest piece of advice. And then in terms of what's coming up on What Brooke Grows, I'm growing my own wedding flowers, which is just a whole other separate, very large, psychotic thing I've decided to do. So that's a whole situation. So you'll definitely see content about that. And then I'm starting a rose garden in memory of my great grandfather. He was an avid rose grower. And so we're still working on some stuff. We only moved in not even 2 years ago, maybe like a little over 18 months ago. We're still working on, getting things the way we want them. And so, a lot of that's going to be coming up, and I will have more of a focus on my YouTube channel next year once I'm married and just we're done with all of that.
Right.
So it sounds terrible. I'm very excited for my wedding. I just want to say that it's going to be great. It's just, I'm only 3 weeks away. So I'm in like the stressful part, so growing my own wedding flowers, and then the rose project. Awesome. And then just really my focus this year for veggies is going to be like my tried and true, varieties. Like I need a year or two where I'm done experimenting with seeds and varieties, and I just need to like stick to the ones I know do really, really well. I think a lot of that's going to be the focus for, upcoming here. And then in terms of where you can find me, my handle's up there on Instagram. It's What Brooke Grows. And then again, the YouTube channel is the same exact handle, What Brooke Grows. And again,
it's right down below in the description too for everybody.
It's going to look a little sad if you go look at it right now, but next year it's going to look much better. And actually, I am putting together a cumulative video about growing my own wedding flowers that I started filming back in September. So you'll be able to see me like do the whole entire process. And let me tell you, it's a bit of a roller coaster. So it's a bit of a roller coaster.
You bet. I mean, already from the conversation today, you got a lot of things you got going on and everything. It sounds so familiar to me because I'm rolling and going with just so many projects and so many things moving me left and right, and just trying to get everything put together. But it's fun and exciting and everything too, especially the idea of growing out all of those wedding flowers and everything. I love the idea when people do that and use flowers. My daughters had this big old party as well too. It wasn't a wedding, but they had a big old party thing and used homegrown flowers and everything as well too. Awesome. So it's kind of cool when you can avoid the flower shop and actually grow them yourself too. So that's awesome. Makes a real good addition to what you got going on there.
I'll give a small spoiler. I'm growing maybe 30% of them myself.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
We had a bit of a plot twist. There was
there you go. Okay.
I had this whole plan. It was a whole thing. I was super confident, felt good about myself, and then yeah, we had a bit of a plot twist. So
That's great.
so you'll see that video in December if you subscribe
Perfect.
to my YouTube
Perfect.
channel.
So yeah, definitely everybody get into the description below. Go over there to, like I said, both Instagram. If you're on Instagram, check out at what Brooke grows. And then there's also a link to her YouTube channel as well, too, down in there and in the description. And like I say as well, too, go over there, check out one of her videos. It may not be as frequent at the moment or whatever, but go check out one of those videos. Leave her a comment down in one of the videos. Let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. It's so great to have you here with us today. It's a really great conversation, and I'd love to have you back again sometime, because I'm sure both of us garden nerds already very similar in what we do. I'm sure we could find a ton more things to talk about and all of that as well too. So definitely have to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for having me. All of the comments that I've seen kind of like in passing. This is just a really awesome community, and you guys are all really sweet. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Brooke Morgan at What Brooks Grows. Thank you. And again, we'll see you hopefully soon.
Bye.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
The answer to this week's trivia question is D. Boston Marrow was once a standard variety of winter squash in the United States. It matures in 100 to 110 days, is shaped like a Hubbard squash, and has bright red-orange skin. Thanks for watching. Head over to Sarah's Seed Shop, where you can find garden seeds at unbeatable prices. Enjoy the rest of the show and have a great day.
All right. Did you get the answer to Sarah's trivia question right? Did you figure it out this week? She does such a great job with those trivia questions. So again, let's all go show some support to Sarah at sarahseedshop.com as well too, and get some of those seeds that she's got. Like I said, I think they're only like 75 cents or something like that. And she gives you just a ton of really great seeds. It's the best deal you're going to get on some of those essential seeds for your home garden that you're going to find out there. I swear, there's a lot of great companies, and we're going to talk to we're going to talk to Ryan Schumacher here, who's representing and does reels and all that for Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, who just has an amazing selection, one of my favorite seed companies. But Sarah's got some really great stuff, so go check her out at sarahseedshop.com and go support a nice young entrepreneur doing a really great job out there spreading seeds around for all of us to grow some of our great gardens that we get to have each and every year. And again, thanks to Brooke for showing up with us here on the show with us today. Darth X was there saying that he just subscribed to What Brooke Grows too. So again, I encourage all of you as well to get down there in the description, or Jay put a link in the comments here as well too, so you can go check out What Brooke Grows, her channel, her YouTube channel. And like I said, go and leave a comment. I'd love it if you guys do that. That's something we want to really get. I'd love to get all of you great supporters of our show. I mean, I know you guys, a lot of you show up here each and every week and everything, and we have such a great fun time talking to all these really great guests that we have. We've got another really great one in Ryan coming up here in just a minute. But I love it when you guys go and check these them out and go and show some support as well for our overall community that we're building here on the Urban Gardener channel here, you know, and what our show really represents is that community. So let's support each other and let's do that sort of stuff. Let's go subscribe. Let's go check out videos, give them thumbs up, you know, letting them know that you saw them here on the show also gives them a comment, when those comments really help people out as well too. Comments are really, really important to some of the folks who are creating videos and content and all of that to get seen out there, because the more comments we got, the more of those thumbs up we got, more of that interaction that we get, like all of you showing up here and joining in the chat and everything. All of that helps us really grow and do really well in what we're doing out there, and we love to support everybody doing that, and especially those who are taking their time to join with us and have these great conversations with us here on the show. And again, to all of you as well, I know there's some really great channels as well who join with us in the chat and everything, and if you know, we get some shout outs for you guys as well too in the chat, and you know, we should all be going over there and checking you all out as well too, and sharing that garden community love that we love to share right here on the Urban Gardener channel. Right on, right on. Again, thank you all so much for joining with me today. I mean, and if you are here and you haven't jumped into the chat yet, definitely get in there and jump in the chat. If you got any questions for our guest coming up here in a minute, definitely get that into the chat box. Put it in nice bold capital letters and everything, and then we'll try to get that asked here during our conversation we'll have coming up here for our featured guest that we're going to have on the show here. I hope he's ready to get going. So we'll get this started up right here. It's time to talk with our featured guest today.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right, everybody who's followed along on social media and all of that, and watch, you know, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all of that, you know, the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company puts out really fun reels showing off all these different great things that they get to grow there out at the Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company out in Missouri. And out of that, over the last, I don't know, we're going to talk, I think it's maybe more than a year now, or maybe even for a while now, we've been seeing these really fun reels coming from Ryan Schumacher out of Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company, just doing some real fun stuff and testing out, always tasting and trying things out in the garden and telling us what it tastes like and all of that as well too, for a lot of these just really amazing things they've got growing at Baker's Creek. So let's welcome to the show today, we've got with us, hopefully he's already here, Ryan Schumacher. Oh, there we go. Let's turn the phone sideways. Can you hear me, Ryan? There we are.
How's it going?
Good. Great to have you there.
Sideways reminder. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
All right.
We just rather have you fill it in there, and so everybody can get to see here. Hopefully our connection's all right. It seems like we might be freezing up. It might be just
if I need to
maybe it's the movement. It's just you just got to catch up with the movement there. So I don't know if you can hear me at all, but yeah, just again to hopefully we'll get everything set up and jump into the conversation here with Ryan here in just a minute. Make sure. Yeah, this is kind of the fun of doing live streams, especially from remote locations, because we know you're just out there out in Missouri. Oh, there we go. Like I said, he probably disconnected there. We'll get him back on here in just a minute. I'm sure hopefully he'll get reset or something like that. He can maybe pull out and then jump back in through the link that he's got or something and maybe reset it. But yeah, again, all part of the fun of doing live streams. There we are, Ryan. How's it going?
Hey, what's happening? Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yep. You gotta again turn it sideways there. just so it fills out
Oh,
better.
that one
There
gets
we
me every
go.
time.
That's all right. No problem.
Yeah,
It just
cool.
that way
Cool.
I always think we could see more with that whole block filled out better. So right on, Ryan. There. Hopefully the connection will stay going good there. But yeah, just like that should go good. Yeah, it looks like you got a campfire going there, huh?
Yeah, my phone was real low, grounded to the earth, and I think it did something, blocked it from the signal. Signal's real wild out here in the country.
Yeah, you gotta so kind of hold it up here over there. Is it gonna be right? But yeah, that's great.
Today's
You're
just
just
kind of a cold day, kicking back, reading seed catalogs, and going through all kinds of different popcorns, heirloom popcorns.
oh wow, a
Trying to
lot of
get
these
good pop over the open flame, and
just testing them out, huh? Seeing which different varieties
yeah,
pop better
popcorn's
than others.
I've
Yeah,
always been
that's
a big popcorn fan.
right on, right on. Yeah. One of my favorite things from when I was a kid. I just always and it was really fun to actually get to grow some of my first corn varieties that I grew for popcorn and to pop them up and eat them. It was kind of cool to be able to do that because you grew it yourself.
The next best thing to eating popcorn is, some heirloom popcorn you've grown. When you start eating that, and growing that, it just takes you somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah,
We've got
exactly.
so many rare varieties and color too. When it comes to really good, just rare stuff. The old Burrow Mountain. I don't know if people have heard of that or not. The Burrow Mountain, though, is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for
Good little popcorn. Yeah, great popcorn.
That's awesome. Yeah. So again, like I was saying, for folks out there who maybe not familiar even with Ryan, Ryan has been doing these really great reels, showing off all the different things that they've got growing there at Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. And so I thought it would be really great to have a conversation with here on the show and kind of talk about that and how you got involved with Baker Creek and everything. Many years ago. So kind of tell us a little bit first. Let's just kind of dig into your experience in gardening. How did you get started? When you were young? Did this something you grew up with, or when or later on in life you came to growing and eventually started doing your own market gardens and basically your own small little seed farms and stuff? But
I hit the market garden space, kind of that revolution for me, the revelation anyhow. I mean, it hit me at like 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I'd had a lot of outdoors, I loved, kind of more fishing, outdoors, camping, hunting, and then of course gardening, farming, being on the farm, and but it didn't really sink until probably about 18 years old.
About 18 years old. That's great. That's
They're
great.
kind
And then
of
you
hard
just jumped
chores up till then, you kind of grumble about the chores, and it's
right.
kind of like, oh man, I gotta go have to do this thing.
That's right.
Hopefully they'll give me more than $4 an hour or whatever it is, at the time.
Yeah.
And it was, and then for me, it was about 3 years of kind of chores and work I had to do to get paid, or work, exchange of whatever it was, for and then I remember one year, Ground Betty Ryerson she probably had like nearly 30 wheelbarrows of tomatoes that needed to go to the barn. This is Arizona. We had a really good tomato year. And it just hit me. And I realized I will never complain about a chore like this, because I'd been doing a lot of work, but specifically construction.
Yeah.
Doing good at it or whatever, or just basically thinking that's what it was going to be. And I got a little depressed. I thought, man, I don't want to be, not that, I didn't want to be, for some reason, I wanted the earth. I wanted to grow food. I didn't want to be for me, it was just, I didn't want to be stuck being a painter or stuck being in one trade.
Right.
Which now I kind of am. I mean, if I was going to, I put it this way, I realized pushing all these wheelbarrows, 30 wheelbarrows of tomatoes to the barn no longer became a chore, because I fell so in love with it. I cannot believe we just grew all these tomatoes, and I've been complaining for years about all the farm chores, or whatever it is. And it just
Yeah.
hit me. It thought, man, going to work and going out there is harder, is less exciting than me with my hand at the plow. For me to see what I can grow is like magic from these seeds.
Yeah, and
For me.
once you get that in you and you see kind of the potential, for me, to tell you the truth, and I don't know if I've shared this with everybody else before as well, before I kind of got into the idea, well, I had one of two ideas I was either going to run with, and market gardening was one of them. I was kind of like maybe at the tail end of like that the craze of online market gardeners, like Curtis up in Canada.
Oh, Curtis Stone,
Curtis
Freedom
Stone.
Farmers, and wow,
Yep. I've got
those guys
one of
rocked
his.
me.
Yep. Jean Fortier or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
I read a lot
so
of
I was
mailbox,
really
all of
inspired by that. I really was kind of looking for something new, a new direction that I wanted to go in. So I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. You go get other people's yards, and I kind of do that almost as well. Not, as extensively as I should be and put more time into. But I have a friend who we have two big 20 by 40 foot plots in the front yard of his garden, kind of in the inspiration of Curtis and all of them from back then.
Oh,
but that was kind of for me, though. I was gonna do market gardening myself, because farming and growing and get my own farm stand and all of that. And then there was also that creative side of me as well too, who used to do photography and journalism and college and all of that, wanted to kind of utilize some of this, YouTube and everything that I had really started getting into and everything. So I had these two different directions. I went the YouTube direction versus the marketing garden direction. But again, it's growing, though. Like you said, we find that attachment to seeds and to these crops and plants that we're growing and everything, and just get hooked in it. And that's kind of taking you on a really great journey over the years, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been incredible. I'm trying to think back of where to start,
Right. Well, take me back to, like, you're 18 now and you're just getting in and you're just getting growing. Again, you said you jumped right into market gardening. So how did those first attempts go? How did you grow into it?
For me, it went really well for about 3-4 years of my launch. We were prepping for the 9/11 back then, and the 9/11 ended up happening later, but sorry, the Y2K. And everybody thought that there was this big, and there was just such a surge in fear with that whole thing. If you take yourself back then, and
exactly, I remember.
And they wanted gardens like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just had a little hillbilly teaching and following, and just my hat tips. I was at the right places at the right time. Grew up with and met some really neat people that just garden, love to farm, love to value the earth, and so that's what it was. I think it's the grace of God for me, to be honest. I kind of got to choose this path. It's not always the easiest path, sometimes it's kind of the only path when you're so connected to the earth, or to your garden, or to your farm, or to your work, because agriculture is tremendous amount of work.
I've seen pictures of you in these just nice big fields of yours. When you showed us, you showed me this last week, and I was like, wow, you really, I mean, I'm telling you, you really did some farming, market gardening, but it's still, that was a nice size. That was nice size plots, and lots of things looked good too.
I dream of raised beds, cover crops. And I'm telling you, I got to write a garden song, old country or a hillbilly bluegrass song. Some more garden songs, the way there are for the country songs. I mean, basically they are when you think of the country roads that take us home and all this stuff, to basically the earth and to the plants and the trees and all these things, and then the raised beds. When you realize that square foot method of gardening, wow, I can literally grow enough food for me to survive on without a grocery store. That was kind of what took me in the early days of market gardening. And now, and I kind of wandered out, you get going into the realm of agriculture, and there's a lot of directions to go in ag today. whether you
Yeah.
want, big old fat, grain fields, or you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
dry farm the Midwest or the Northwest or the Southwest. I personally, I'm a Southwest, kind of a desert rat farmer, so I chose,
Right.
coming from Arizona, I chose to go
Yeah.
out in some of the hottest places in the world, the Sudan. We were
Yeah,
there
yeah. I was going to mention that too, is that you
years ago.
eventually took that marketing garden experience and that kind of small farming experience and took that to places there in Africa for a while as well.
130 degrees in
Uh,
Sudan. I never forget that. That was like
oh
27
my.
years ago, but
Oh
we're up
my.
there, and it's different, and it's even up there with their larger swaths of agriculture and the growing of whatever it would be, millet and sorghum and the
Yeah.
real short, a lot of barleys. And me, I just love all that food. I love the survival
Yeah.
of these grains that thrive on the annual rainfall in those regions, and helping the people. It does get hard, you chase the drought. South Sudan, you have too much rain, and then you got the far desert regions. And right now we, with for me personally back then, just to have the revolution of how much food, how many people you can feed in an acre. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
no-brainer for me to go to Africa. I was like, yeah,
Right.
I'm going to put this to the test, and so we've done that through the years, and it's a joy, agriculture's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
work. And somehow with the square foot, with the garden family, like we're seeing to kind of merge up in the world, and with the care for health. It's not health care, it's to care for the things that have been given to us from nature. And we
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that it's a real revolution happening right now in the earth today again. And some of the scientists that we have are friends with and have partnered with for a better earth that see
Yeah.
simple science, and the simple MPK. What? MPK
Yeah.
is given to us in nature? What?
Right.
All these things.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
fun
yeah.
stuff, Getting a little
Exactly.
smoky from my fire there, but that
But
wind
yeah,
farm.
no, you're right exactly about that. And our health is wealth, as a few of my other friends tell me all the time, and that's kind of what lures a lot of people to small farming, market farming, like you're talking about, growing in general, whether it's just an urban garden for me, like myself, making that connection to our food and growing better food for ourselves, whether it's just in smaller increments, and we're going out to guys like yourself who are growing these market gardens to get other essentials, or being able to grow a big garden ourselves and provide most of the majority of our own food. I mean, it's just I hope more people take on that journey as well too, and find that as,
It's a
and
dying
they're
art.
saying it's well, hopefully it can be revived in a sense through folks like ourselves out there sharing experiences of others and ourselves, and show people that these things are possible, and we can find, again, there's, before the lands are gone, and we just grow past all of it, and like you said, it becomes something that's just a part of memory history I would hate to see. So again, it's great to pass the word and tell it in different ways, and I think that's one of the things you do so well in drawing people towards again, what's going on there at Baker Creek and everything too, with all those really
It's been
fun
a real joy,
real fun
seeing.
reels that you've been doing. First, before we get into the reels and everything, tell us a little bit more about kind of that early relationship, because we were talking about this last week, is that you and Jer met like early on. You guys were just young men when you first met, and you started growing some of those you helping them grow their seed trials and stuff as well too. So tell us a little bit more about how that relationship got started, and some of those early projects you were doing with Jer in getting his company started.
Sure. I got a seed catalog from Betty Ryerson, and she was she's still to this day, my gardening guru, gardening mentor. I got this seed catalog, and I just happened to be getting ready to move to the Midwest. I was going all out for farming. I had such a love for ag, and you can grow up in a big farm town, a little desert rat town. We need water. We need a lot of water in the desert. And I thought, I'm going to go to the Midwest. moved to Kansas City and had a little 16-acre row crop farm there. And I finally, and I'd been ordering seeds from and getting this little catalog that my grandma gave me. And I started calling the company, and just hammering them with questions. This is probably
right.
1990, 8, 99, and get this catalog. Whoa, I'm going to go to, so for me, it was a big move out of my desert region into the Midwest. And so kind of one of my first buddies, I came into Kansas City and set up shop there, little row crop farm, little, hillbilly, little tractor from the 40s, a nice big John Deere from the 70s, just, farming basically, scratching rows, doing what I loved.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. It was, I can't say it's even magic, it was just so perfect for me in my life. The things that we love and the things that we're attracted to and drawn to, especially in the garden. And for me, I remember the first couple of years of full moon harvests, seed harvests in the field. And oh my goodness, I've got this 5-foot Swiss chard, and it just spitting out 7-foot, seed stalks. And my goodness, look at my beets, and now I don't just have one bed of beet seed. I've got like 40, that was me, where I just went crazy with not only the square foot gardening, but the square foot seed saving.
Yeah. That, and again, too,
Seed Savers Exchange and all these guys back in the early days, it was incredible for me to get to Midwest and then come down to the farm, meet old Jared Gettle. So we probably, I think I was 22 years old when I finally came here, and it was his second year. So I said, I was right 99 in there somewhere,
Yeah.
And after that, I didn't miss a show. I came, bought everything I could in the seed store, a packet of everything in the store. I remember just having that, like, oh man, I'm going to have to ask this guy for a discount. Maybe I can do some work and help, and so just so I can afford every packet of every seed in the store. That was kind of our first, that was back in the day. I was 22 years old. Jared would have been 21.
Wow. Yeah. So really early on, right there at the right there at the beginning of Jared's adventure to the early days of
it's amazing.
The early days of this whole thing that we all come to love. I try to show people right here earlier that right here in my background, you can see I've got all of the whole seed catalogs all the way back to the first one in 2014.
Whoa, cool.
And
wow.
It's just been one of my favorite things. When I discovered that, actually I had to go back and find a 14 one, but I discovered them in 2015, and I've gotten and ordered one every single year, and you want to have every single seed that's in there. Like you're talking about that experience of like, well, I want to get all of these, because again, these are just one of the things Jared has done and why their company has done so well in the seed space is because of these heirloom seeds, these rare seeds,
Oh yeah.
And to be there too, again, at the beginning of this process of them and helping and growing even too. I know you got pictures of yourself in the catalogs from those early days you were showing me where you were growing fields of seed for them as well too, and to be a part of that experience is really awesome, especially for those of us who are big fans of that company,
Oh, it's neat. No, a lot of trials through the years. And I remember back in them days, I'd have 40-inch on center. And, I was shooting for 36-inch, but pretty sloppy cultivators. I kind of graduated out of the market gardening a little bit. What initially hooked me in, this is what's neat about my story, is I've gone full circle. I'm coming to the middle of my life now, probably push towards the end here whenever, nobody knows. But I've gone from a raised bed, a little Freedom Farm, a little Curtis Stone or Mel Bartholomew raised garden bed, John Jevons, all these guys, and I kind of got bigger than all that. I wanted to do bigger things, bigger agriculture, more. And the very thing now that I'm excited about in my life, and the very thing I never stopped dreaming of all the way through the journey, is raised beds.
Oh yeah.
I've never. I'm telling you. I mean, I'd got certain plows and middle busters, and basically when you can make a raised bed a mile long, on the bigger rows, it felt really great
Yeah,
to
yeah.
farm the way we farm, incorporate organic practices into row cropping has been kind of my. And then now that I'm not necessarily row cropping right now at the moment, I'm all hooked back into my old, raised beds.
Yeah, yeah. And again too, it's something I have a fascination for the ideas of market gardening and everything again from early on. I just fell in love with the idea. I thought it would be, I didn't think of myself like in a big ag type situation where a larger farm, being able to run the tractors and all that sort of stuff is
Sure.
maybe when I was younger, there would have been some of those kind of ideas and things
I
as
wanted
I
a
got
lot
to
more of
see
that
that
when I was
stuff.
younger.
But
Yeah.
in that more realistic phase of like, what could I do? There was just such a fascination with the idea of just kind of doing some level of farming, row crops, and just having that sort of experience. But again, lots of work in that, and so I like some of the more simplicity and easier going of a raised bed, like you're saying. And again, talking about Bartholomew and square foot gardening and all of that too is a huge influence on how I do that, because I apply that to all of the container gardening and the different things that I utilize throughout all of my different gardening spaces in a more urban small space environment. So even if I did have a big plot of land and I could kind of do a bit more,
Yeah.
I'll still always want to have some of those raised beds and
Oh
and
yeah,
have that
those are
sort
some of my
just
gardening books are the only books I've ever read more than once.
yeah. So there'll always be like a kitchen garden right outside the door type of thing for sure.
No, it's neat.
Yeah. So again, too, let's um you said you had this early experience, this early connection with Jer, and we've had Jer on the show. He was on with us, one of my first guests,
Cool.
actually, this last year when we got the show started and everything too, and just had such a wonderful conversation with him because he's such a great guy. I've gotten to know him over the years by going to the National Heirloom Exposition, and I know you've been involved with them in that whole process of building that really great event up and everything. And we've hung out actually over the last couple of different events over the last couple of years and everything. To tell us a little bit about that too, getting to be involved with them as far as these great festivals that they put on, because you're right there in Missouri too. You're there for their spring festivals probably, and get to see
Yeah.
what real kind of joy and fun that they bring to this whole kind of experience and in all these different rare seeds that they promote.
Yeah, we committed to 2 festivals in the spring, and we have another one in Missouri in the fall, and we've been doing a California, Ventura, California, rare
Yeah,
seed festival. And
yeah,
it makes sense with some of the size of the fields and some of the size of the plant outs of some of the rarest of the rare. We
yeah.
love to grow quantity, and that way we can get quality, and we can have big lots of seeds to inventory from. And for us, it's just the seed. How can we, find and help and procure a perfect seed? How can we
Yeah.
farm it? How can we encourage other people to farm it? And
Mm-hmm.
it's been a real rare opportunity, for us to be
Yeah.
able to do. Try to make the voice of rare gardeners around the earth be known. I'm always encouraging people, send us pictures or.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. It's a unique. It's a unique
Yeah.
world that we are in the rare seed world, where everybody's so in tune with the color of their flowers, and this seed was saved from my grandmother, or this
Mm-hmm.
seed was saved from generations before, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of that. You get into that. I've just loved diving into
That's definitely one of the things I love the most about like the whole catalog that I really just got me into it. And in a way too, because for me, for my first few years of gardening, and there's no problem getting whatever varieties and different things like that you can find out there, and all sorts of places that have new things. So we're always looking and reaching for new stuff. And when I discovered Baker Creek And again, the whole seed catalog, when that came out, that really kind of changed really kind of some of my perspective on some of this. I mean, it really enlightened me more to this idea of, you know, these rare seeds where, you know, again, as you touched on there, are kind of based in some stories, some backgrounds, whether it's families and different cultures and different people and all of that doing things differently. And these heirlooms are passed down. That's what really makes an heirloom. And, you know, and maybe in more, in my opinion, more, but factually, is that that they're really these just really awesome, you know, seeds that will, for one, true to their type, you know, and can be passed down and have been passed down for generations with this great story. And Baker Creek does that so well. That's one of the things that makes this it's you get in and they just get some rich, deep storytelling on these rare plants and seeds and everything that they offer. And you get a lot of that experience from, again, too, we touched on also, you've been to Africa and all of that, and probably got to see and find very rare varieties that maybe have come to Baker Creek as well over the years too. So maybe you could touch on and tell us maybe a little bit about that experience.
Sure. Yeah, I spent a lot of years there, and going back and forth. Right now, we currently working and helping in Egypt, Sudan, and North Africa. But also, you know, Baker Creek has guys from Kenya here right now. Some amazing programs. Yeah. You know, pulling seeds from around the earth is amazing, and helping to preserve the story behind that seed, the region, the culture. We just right now, I'm just looking at this. We've just launched a new seed, the Montana sunburst, sorry. And this right here, we get to work with. We just put a video out on our website about this one. You can watch it and just see, you know, these breeders do things that are so very important, holding on to the genes of and the genetics of this original seed, you know, and corn seed specifically from the Native Americans, and what some of their corn is so sacred and so special. And these breeders, you know, work with them and work with that to hold the color and to hold the variety and to give that to us, you know, that we could also grow that and remember that it's nature that binds us together, you know.
Yeah.
It's
and our colors, food, you know, nature and our food, these real just essentials to, you
not
know.
A GMO. I promise you that, you know, they're banning those things, and they're being used where they, you know, are being used, and people are kind of waking up to, wow, you know, we can't lose even the names of some of the rare simple vegetable and garden vegetables and flowers. We don't want to lose those. We want to preserve that as well. And who would have known that we would now be in a fight and fighting for our grandchildren even to come, of a world fighting for pure food. This one's go down in history. The thing, I don't know. I tell them all, you know, tell everybody. I don't understand what the problem is. Nobody ever want to get political about it. I'm not saying get political, but I'd tell anybody, let's get it together. What's going on with the world today? Why are we running rogue? You know, we're running rogue on all levels.
I kind of touched on this a little bit with our guest we had last week and all of that too, is that, you know, our garden spaces and these growing spaces are great places for all of us, no matter what our backgrounds are, no matter where we come from, our cultural differences, and all these sort of stuff. A garden or a growing space, community garden, like we talked with Brooke in the previous segment and all of that, are great places for us to get together around some very essential things. For one is, you know, again, food, you know, and then, you know, a connection with nature. You know, and those things are essential for us as human beings to really thrive, you know, and to have and continue, again, to these rare seeds, these rare varieties,
and we can't lose those things.
Continue their stories, but more so than the generalized stuff that we are, you know, getting from a lot of our food system as it is. So that's what makes gardening and growing important. This was kind of one of those weird connections I had, you know, there early on. Like I said, I was growing all sorts of different things from all different places and everything. And I still try some new stuff, you know, wherever I find some new things that are pique my interest from things I know that are kind of successful in my garden. But that's what really attracted me to the ideas of rare seeds, heirloom seeds in general, that Baker Creek really connects with, is this idea of continuing these stories, continuing the growth of these rare things, because we can get caught up on some of these generals as well too. So always striving to have newer stuff and try new things out of the catalog to kind of give my garden a little bit of a, you know, something new. But then again, too, continue growing these sort of things is not to lose their stories as well, because it's important to keep those connections as much as our connection to nature too.
Yeah, I love gardening with the kids, you know. My kids have taken what my hey Hunter, I'm sure he's out there watching us. Sam,
yes, awesome.
Malachi, you know, my kids, even my daughter, she loves flowers, seeds, and plants in her room, and so I love that. You know, I smile. It makes me feel good when I see my kids taking after some of the better traits, you know.
Yeah.
And doing
and getting them see them connect with nature as well, and growing plants and growing food. And you know, like it said, you know, out there as well, you know, that you know, kids who grow and are around the growing of their food appreciate and enjoy more food varieties than they would, you know, without being in those situations. So it's great to have the kids involved. I'm looking forward to that. I didn't get so much of a gardening experience with my daughter. You know, I'm working with her now as she's getting older into, you know, growing more, you know, plants and gardens and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. She getting into it slowly.
Yeah, but she just had my first granddaughter. So I'm really excited about really being sure to show her and bring her up with all of this knowledge as well, too.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's great, you know, passing that on as well too. Really important things, you know. But again, we have so many aspects of gardening, growing are really great. And like I said, it's you know, again, that connection with nature, that connection with experience that we can share with others as well too, is really great. I love some of those stories and some of those things you're telling me again last week about getting that experience in Africa, in different places as well too. I mean, really, we're talking, you mentioned Sudan. I mean, this is really adventure growing for sure. But you know, I love that you know, you brought that experience that you gained over all those years into, you know, making and doing the content you're doing for Baker Creek as well. So I want to kind of get into that. What started that whole idea? You know, like, where was it and what point was this that you guys were like, wait a minute, let's take Ryan around the different spots of Baker Creek here, try different things, and start doing these different reels and kind of, you know, bring a sense of entertainment. I think people really love what you do and stuff. I get a lot of, like I said, I've had lots of comments and especially from people who have been saying, yeah, I'm gonna have Ryan on the show, you know, and this and that. And they're like, oh, that'd be such a great interview and all of that. People have been looking forward to this interview for sure, to just kind of get to know a little bit more about you, because, you know, we get to see you on these really fun things. So again, I'm going on and on about that, but tell me a little bit about how that kind of came about. You know, you started putting a camera on you and doing that.
You know, I had a, you know, long journey overseas. I was over in East Africa, North Africa, about 10 years or so. And came back Hawaii a couple years, and then went back home to Arizona. And, you know, I just wasn't going to the shows. It wasn't that I wasn't connected or in touch. We had a lot of big seed drops through the years from rare seeds, you know, into different parts of Kenya. Put a lot of seeds into Kenya through the years, Ethiopia. So my very first seed drop from Jerry, you know, years ago into Africa, where it went to Ethiopia, Kenya. And it's a miracle for me that here we are 20 some years later in our friendship, and we can still do that. We can still focus on the thing that we love the most. Gardening, and of course now our families, you know, and raising our kids, and then trying to get seed trying to get the fight for seed. And the whole race, the whole no-brainer race of like, hey, this is a no-brainer. Why is our food, messed up in America? Again, we don't get too political about things, but we've found our channel. We love to do what we do because it's fun.
Yeah.
We just love it. And we've had so much fun with all these rare varieties. Doesn't mean that, we have been flooded this year in Thailand. We've been flooded in Missouri. We also lose crops,
Yeah.
We had, strong, fields that produce seed that we couldn't harvest seed on, greenhouse crops,
Right.
different things. And so, we also feel it at times. But at the same time, we got a real drive. We got a real push. We love
Yeah.
to research as many things as we can and find something new for the catalog.
Yeah.
This the sunburst, some of this corns that are come out this year. There's another Montana Red Eagle, just a beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at
Easy.
that.
Again, our breeder that we work with, he's sacred. These guys are, they are doing work with some of our original varieties in the colors and they're holding that for us and they're giving us the permission, they're giving us the honor and the story to share and so it's cool. It's just fun work,
Yeah. So I was gonna ask about that too as well. So you started someone and you together, someone else, was this an idea you had and you just started filming yourself, or did someone come to you and say, hey, let's take and make some reels to kind of show about these
I
different
started
things?
coming to the shows again a couple years ago, and I called Jer one day and said, dude, what am I thinking? I've been home from Africa 10 years, living in America, scrubbing away, farming away, field over here, field over there, backhoe, digging double dug beds. And now I've adopted the no dig method. I went from real extreme, using a backhoe and a dozer, backhoe in, long double dug rows with bales of straw, barley straw for carbon, and then alfalfa, barley straw, alfalfa, and then bury it up. Dip my compost in there, raise my worms. I do a lot of different methods and styles of gardening. And now I'm coming all down to the no dig and, just saving all my leaves and compost. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat,
Yeah. Right on. And again too, you get to, through doing this sort of content and making all these fun reels and everything, you get to try and test out all of this different amazing stuff that they offer through those catalogs and everything. And I saw one recently, you were making some teas that had these different colors and stuff, and just the way you get to show all of that off and how people can find new things through the catalog in that sort of fashion by watching those videos that you make.
Oh, it's neat. And we never know. We just started it. We were just kind of filming along. Hey, look at this. And I started coming to the shows and we start, filming stuff and doing our tours around the farm. And I mean, it started working. We were goofing around. We're just so excited about some of the size of the cucumber, the serpent cucumber, and we had the other Chinese, long cucumber, and some of these, I mean, they're just so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we had that cucumber from the Himalayas, really amazing.
Oh wow!
And
Again, too,
and that was a video. I have to go. It's usually, I know, I'll think of it in a minute, the name of it, but Sammy, I promise. But we just did it. We shot a video out of that, and then after that video, we just said, dude, let's keep doing this.
Yeah.
It was one of our very first videos on the channel.
And that was directly for Baker Creek, or was this something you?
Yeah, it was just Jared and I, the owner of Baker Creek.
Oh yeah.
We just said, man, let's do this. We need to communicate this to the world. The Sakura-jima radish, grows 50 pounds, and we need to. How do we tell the world about this radish? And meanwhile, we've gone on to finding minerals in Japan. Japan's got some amazing stuff. That purify water impeccably. Perfect. Imagine we could be using in America right now, like Russia, China, Japan, the rest of the world. We could be using minerals to purify our water, and we're not.
Oh wow, really?
You know, it's yeah, that things are going to break here. I think where the world's headed. A lot of this
I hope.
technology is opening up, and the garden world. You know, we're seeing new varieties from around the world. We've got breeders that are holding on to stuff and preserving stuff, and we've got
Yeah.
GMOs that have come and GMOs that have gone. You know, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's still a lot more coming in the realm of science and the
Yeah.
whole industrial ag. And I
Oh,
don't
that's
knock any
definitely for
industrial
sure.
ag too hard. You know, I've really been in it for farmers and all
Yeah.
farmers my whole career, from the guys just roaming the ranges of Montana, pushing their, pushing the
Exactly. And kind of
herds,
like what you're saying, how
growing
do we get out
grains.
there and tell these stories, get people to know about this sort of stuff? Because it is for sure science will develop the new thing and the new thing will get out on the market. We already saw again in Baker Creek had to deal with the issue of the tomato, and so, those seeds are getting out there to commercial growers in some
Yeah,
sort of
before
way
they were
in the
even launched.
future, or
So
not really.
imagine
I mean,
that.
home growers, not commercial growers is what I meant to say.
Sure.
So these, they're getting into home growers and home gardens eventually. And these are things that we're just going to have to kind of work way around and have more and more people out there again, too, sharing and talking about the importance of these rare seeds and different types of varieties of things and all of that as well. And that's why, I think it's great that you bring a good sense of entertainment and fun to it all. And I think it really has. I've seen and watched, the kind of interaction with that sort of content you're putting out grow and grow more so as you've continued to do it, so I think it is a good way to get that message out there, by having fun and goofing around and doing things with these things, showing the different varieties and being able to help continue their stories to do that. Because again, we've touched on this, is that those things are important. That's why I think that I really have connected to myself with Baker Creek. Jer as well too is a great person. He's, I've got to talk with him many different times over the years at his Heirloom exposition, and he's been interviewed on my channel, probably one of the earliest
Oh, you
interviews
interviewed
I've
old
done.
Jer Gettle.
Oh
Man,
yeah, several times each and every year for my visit to the
that's great.
expo. But he was on the
Yeah.
show last year, as I mentioned a little earlier, and just really great guy when it comes to this sort of thing. And so again, to really help send a good message about this stuff out forward, and again, to done such a good job again with their catalogs, that it's easy for people to be able to connect with those stories. So you get some real good, juicy pictures and rich content as far as stories and backgrounds out of their catalogs. And then you follow them on social media and you get some great fun entertainment with Ryan doing these different things that you're doing with all those reels and everything. So
In the
again, it's
early days,
really helping spread that message.
oh, thank you. It just a while ago in the early days of the channel, it was just Jer and I. I guess in the earlier, it was just Jer. And then it was just Jer and I. And now we've got a third guy, Mitch Gross. Big shout out to the seed hunter, and Earth Grower. Big shout out to my Earth Grower buddies and my family watching right now. But, think about our team now is just three of us. And we're just like, how do we keep this about laughter? How do we keep it about the history of this seed, the importance of this seed, the importance of people being able to even know about it? And so that's kind of our, we don't have much that distracts us from those bullet points, and just try to keep it rare and keep it fair, and try to share.
Exactly. That's so great. And also, though, too, part of your story, and we've touched on this as well, and I want to give you some time to be able to acknowledge that and talk about it for a few minutes before we finish up. But you also have gotten into doing things yourself with different stuff on a personal. I found you, and you got your Instagram again, that we've got links for down in the description below. But tell us a little bit more about your own personal Instagram you and your wife do there as well too, and some of that stuff, and
my wife
how you guys got
her
together doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, she kills it. She's a real natural. She's always had a large following of a million or more people following. She got shut down after she got 250 million views.
Oh
on
wow.
Facebook. Anyway, I probably better not talk about it. But they give her a channel back after a while. But when
Yeah.
you get that many views, you're hitting some topic, and people are watching. So
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
been,
exactly.
we've wanted to do the family channel and do things through the years. She's been really good at it.
Yeah, yeah.
But she's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
real,
good husband-wife teams always make the best YouTubers, man, as they can help each other with the different things. You doing the,
I
the
haven't been much help
on-camera
to her
stuff and
to this
her
point,
doing the behind, or her being a part of on camera. However that sort of stuff works out, it always seems they seem to always be the ones who do the best. I think it's when they put their heads together and work together as a team.
In the early years, I would just want to talk about farming and farming only. And
Yeah.
she does some pretty serious stuff online and around the world to advocate and help for people. And my love for ag, every show of hers and her whole channel is just not always about agriculture. And so, we've had our finding our balance and finding our rhythm online, and what does it look like, and how do we but we've done some really neat stuff. We reach out in Egypt right now, and most of my wife's channel, we're reaching out, helping a lot of people because of her. And so that's neat, neat to see what she does for equality and justice, around she speaks Arabic as her first language, and so she's constantly
Okay.
just constantly at bat for people around the world.
That's awesome.
Helping.
That's
We've got the
awesome.
war in Sudan right now, and me, I'm always, when I think of overseas and I think of around the world, I'm pretty one track minded with raised beds, gardening. When I go into parts of Africa, I'm just so in love with the agriculture.
Yeah.
Really neat, so that's my big take for right
It's
now.
one of
We
those
give him
places in
blankets.
the world I've always wanted to see. Is the different parts of Africa would just be amazing. I think it just, again, kind of a beginning of
It's awesome.
time type of experience, but out in places. My good friend, I mentioned too, that we have these big plots over in his front yard. He's actually right now probably flying back from Africa at this moment. He just goes to Kenya a couple times a year and everything.
Oh, it's
So
great.
I got to get my own opportunity someday to get out there and check it out and get to see
It's
it.
a garden basket of the world. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really fun. But so I do want to do more of a farm and home garden channel at some point.
You should do it. It would be great.
Yeah, the things we do right now, usually, we're putting blankets. We do want to do a farm there in South Egypt. So we look in that area, a farm that'll help. Maybe we'll be able to go right into North Sudan with the farm.
Yeah.
We're not sure, but just building community gardens and raised beds, and then of course through Baker Creek, just trying to get seed packets into these war zones and places around the world. And
and that's kind of a part of it as well too, is some of that advocacy that you guys have. I love about Baker Creek. It's tied in a little bit with a question Serena was bringing. There's like, what does Ryan do at Baker Creek besides, as we've been talking about, you do a lot of this video content. That's how we've gotten to know you, through Baker Creek and everything. But you do a lot of things for Baker Creek. What are some of these other things that you're up to there as well? And maybe also and tie it in as well with what you're just talking about as well, doing some of this advocacy with them and getting seeds out to places and things, because that's one of the things I think is another thing I just love about Jer and the company and everything, is how, we're charitable they are, you know what I mean? That's pretty much, even bigger than that. I mean, they're constantly getting seeds and, or having, one of the things I love too is that, something will happen and some people need some help, so they'll give all their profits for certain sale periods.
Watch for those. We did it for North Carolina.
Get that out, and get that out to these places that really need them and everything too as well. But what are some of those other things that you work with Jer on there at Baker Creek? Because that's again too where you're out there camping too. I'll mention to everybody, you're out there camping right now. You're just right outside the farm.
We've got
right
a little. I've got this is just a little 3-acre property next to Baker Creek. It's right on the corner of London Road, and we're putting a little hillbilly hotel right here, and so I have a spot close here, when I'm here and when we work together, but we do a lot of trials, and these farm and garden trials, Jared's got a big team, his garden team. I mean, these guys and gals are just amazing. Got really cool staff, really cool team. And, but our stuff really is just to research and read and try to grow all the varieties that we offer.
Yeah. Let's see. Serena also asked here, let's jump this in because you're kind of talking about different varieties. You get in and you grow these and all that. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the orange thyme that she's asking about.
Oh yeah.
She's like saying, what did it take to get it to germinate? Any suggestions on getting thyme or orange thyme to germinate? Does it need any kind of like cold strata? I thought maybe that was part of it, but
you could treat it. You don't necessarily need to treat it the way that you would treat lavender, but for me, a lot of my times, if I don't go straight into compost and straight into the earth, just old market garden style, sometimes even a block over it or a leaf or some mulch, but you could always do the wet paper towel. Just germinate it, put it in little terracotta clay pots, germinate it up big. That's probably my favorite way, and just be sure it's getting water and good drainage. That time, the orange thyme into terracotta pots with black, earthworm and compost soil, and just knowing in that sitting in your windowsill or in your greenhouse, little garden, wherever you're doing it. If you can, sprinkle your seed in a wet paper towel and then get it wet. Yeah. And then just roll that stuff up. Here comes old Jim Gale.
Kind of some old school germination. What do you say, Jer, driving by?
They're walking by. They're probably not walking through.
Right.
They do. I'll throw them on the show, but
yeah.
So that's my best idea there for time. Herbs are just finicky. Oh, herbs are tough, aren't they? I just go straight to the source with some of them. If I'm having problems, I wet them in a paper towel and just watch them.
Yeah.
Just raise them.
Right on. Yeah. That's a good, just again, a good way to get a lot of different things done and growing. As far as germination is just to kind of do it old school, right in the paper towel. I do that still with a lot of different things as well.
Oh yeah, and then you just open them, you see them, you're looking at them, then you're like, oh, I'm going to put those in this little terracotta pot, full of black compost. It's perfect. You could even bury the paper towel in there,
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
But my big things are like the blue Ethiopian emmer wheat. All right, these are ones I love to grow, cover crop stuff. The black hulless wheat and the purple barley, not wheat, sorry, but black hulless barley, and then the purple barley. Those are my two favorite. Right now for the garden, I've been big into growing barley in the garden. Cover crop barley.
Excellent, man. So, and again, so many awesome, cool varieties and all of that. And I'm sure that if everybody's getting their Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company whole seed catalog, if you don't have one or have not had gotten a whole seed catalog, it is they do have a free catalog, but it's their I can't remember what they charge for it, but it's worth the money to get this whole seed.
See, our whole seeds catalog,
and you got to get a copy of it. I do have a link down below in the description for everybody to Rare Seeds as well too, so where you can go find one of those whole seed catalogs and get one for yourself too. But I'm sure you'll see Ryan as well somewhere in that catalog as well too. But yeah, was there something there? I'm sorry I interrupted you. Would you?
Oh no, just saying, if you get that catalog, you get pretty much newsstands come 2025, they'll carry them, all over the country,
as well too.
Barnes and Noble. I'm trying to think of where, but Barnes and Noble, Whole Foods always carries the whole seed catalog. But if you get a hold of me, we'll send you one. We'll send you some, and you can get them through our website, rareseeds.com. Our free catalog is the good one too, just to get started. And if you like the free catalog, the whole seeds catalog, so 533 pages, it's amazing.
Yeah, again, too, it's just so full of all sorts of great, it just really goes in depth with most all the different things that they have available there at Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company at rareseeds.com. Like I said, there's a link down below too, so you can go check that out. You got to get yourself one of the whole seed catalogs. It's like I always used to tell people, it's like the old like Toys R Us or Sears catalog for us when I was younger and everything. They'd show up and it just full of everything that they have and all of that, but for seeds and rare seeds and heirloom varieties, and again, all these just amazing stories, different cool things that we can grow and grow into our gardens and all of that. And like I said, it's been so fun to kind of watch along too, again, with Baker Creek on their social media and all those cool fun reels that you do, Ryan. So I hope that you keep up and do lots and lots and keep doing that and come up with newer and funner ideas. And I'm sure that everybody else will keep following along there as well too. And like I said, everybody, you can find Ryan at the links as well too. I've got a link to his Instagram as well too. You can go and check him out on his Instagram, him and his wife there, and see what they're up to, as well as finding him at Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company as well too. I've got a link below. And Ryan, thank you so much for taking your time today, doing this interview, talking with you about how all of this came about, and just really fun today, man. I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, it's good to share the journey. Thank you. Be sure and visit us at rareseeds.com. Get our catalogs. Order white sage in 2025. It's a seed crop I've been working on for the last 10 years. We now carry it through the catalog. Jared's been kind. Rare Seeds is donating all the seed sales of 2025 to the Sudan mission. That's my wife's mission for what we do, and the farms, the gardens, the agriculture that will reinitiate into North Africa just as soon as the war tamers down and lets us back in. So, thank you.
Yeah, really great work on all of that too. And again, that'd be really kind of some fun you and your wife could do as you talk about getting into your videos and stuff, is really kind of cover and talk about some of that stuff you do too, because I think that's really awesome. You're out there doing that. You're getting to have this fun adventure gardening in a sense, and it's just really great. We'll have to get back together again and talk about some more of these stories and everything. Also too, real fun to ask, get to know you and talk to you in person at the Heirloom expositions and everything too. So we'll definitely look forward to seeing you again there this next year as well. So another good reason to get out to the fair. You can meet up with Ryan there out there.
Come visit us. We're pretty easy to get along with when we come, and we hope our shows will continue to grow, and our catalog and our seed varieties will continue to grow as well. And it's always neat being extended out to the people in the Rare Seed family out there that shop with us, order with us, garden and farm with us.
Yeah. Just really a great community. You guys are great representatives of, the community as well too, with Jer and Baker Creek. Just again, I really appreciate you guys and your support for everything that I do over here at the Urban Gardener, and being here on the Let's Get Growing show. We'll look forward to hopefully seeing you again later. But thanks again, Ryan, so much for joining with us. And again, catch Ryan and all those links down below.
Oh, love to do it again. Be sure and find us at rareseeds.com.
Rareseeds.com. Awesome.
Yeah, the SudanMission.net. That's my wife's. And support us there. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Awesome, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Right on. Again, too, I'm telling you, what a great, fun conversation there with Ryan Schumacher from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. And again, he's got links down below too to his own Instagram and all of that too, and follow along with the different content that they put out there as well about all those other things that they've got growing on there in Africa. And again, too, one of those things I just really do love about Baker Creek, they go worldwide. they're out there finding all these rare varieties and doing all these really cool things just worldwide out there, and it's through the experiences of those guys like Ryan and all of that through their company that we get to enjoy some of these just really cool rare varieties that make it into their seed shop that we can go and check out there at rareseeds.com down below in the description. And again, love the content. Ryan brings a lot of fun, and again too, he's just as fun in person that I've met at the last couple of years at the exposition. So you go and check out, like I said there at the end, at the expo. Good reason to go out there in California, or if you are around and traveling through Missouri or as well too, they got lots of great things that they're doing there out at the Baker Creek farm and everything too. Ryan's out there all the time as well. You might run into him, Jared Gettle, and all of that as well at their spring fairs and other things that they do as well too. So the events that they put on are just as much fun with Baker Creek. I got to get out there to Missouri myself and go and check out some of the fairs and things that they're doing there, and get a chance to see the farm, because that would be really amazing too. But yeah, again, always fun to catch up with them. And again, we are really lucky to have Ryan on the show today, as well as in our first segment, we were following Brooke Morgan over at What Brooke Grows. That was just a really fun conversation with her. I love getting people on too and finding out that they've this is like their first time doing kind of a live stream type of thing like that. So that was really fun to get her out on her first time doing some live here on YouTube, here on our Urban Gardener channel and Let's Get Growing show. So again, like I say too, definitely make sure that you're getting down into the description below that we have here and get to some of the links that we have to these other great guests that we have, and go show them some support. And like I was talking about at the beginning of the show, it's just really great when you guys are not just, that's one way to really help support our show, is to go to these folks who join with us here, and these awesome gardeners, and to go and check out their content, and then go and leave comments and likes and all of that, and especially comments, and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. And that really just kind of really helps out with both of what we're doing out there, and really helps us connect with the community of people that we're growing here on this show. It's so amazing just to watch you guys and your conversation as well, while I'm having my conversation, sharing with all of you this conversation we're having on the show, getting to see you guys just have some great conversations that you get to there in the chat and everything too. So it's so fun to see all of you guys get together here every Saturday and Sunday, again at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We're getting together here on the Let's Get Growing show. I will mention next week for our Saturday show, I don't have any guests scheduled or anything. So I was thinking maybe what I would do again, and this goes for like Bowtie or I see some other channels that we have, Big Will Dog in the Soil, you guys right there too. Next Saturday, I'm going to just kind of, we'll hang out. Maybe we'll get Jay on with us, or Adam or something as well too. It'd be really great. All of you guys, I'm going to give you the live stream link, and then we'll just kind of have a fun conversation. We'll talk about some different things going on and all of that together. So we'll just kind of get together again too. That will be for our next Saturday Let's Get Growing show. We'll do that, and we'll just have me and you, and we'll just have a fun gardening conversation. It's always kind of fun to kind of, as much as I like to have all of the other guests that we get to have here too, it's also kind of fun to just kind of have these shows where we can kind of just get together and hang out together too, as well, kind of mixed in there. And then I like this idea, and we had some really great conversations already with Jay before and Adam before. In fact, on our Halloween live stream, I did that as well, shared the link with everybody, and we got a couple of great conversations between our movies we got to watch. So I really kind of like that idea. So I think we'll kind of roll with that a little bit more. Rob, it would be great too, maybe if you would jump on with us as well too, or something for a couple of minutes, and get a chance to chat with you guys right here on the show as well too, because I know a lot of you got your own channels and everything as well too. So again too, and yeah, in fact, Teets was just putting this up real quick here. Like a Viking show in a way, just kind of a great, that's one of the things I love about Nate's show. But Nate is just so knowledgeable about all sorts of stuff that you get so much great information and everything too. We're just kind of having more of a, you know, just kind of a general conversation. I could share with you some good stuff a little bit too, but, you know, not as in depth as these other great gardeners we get to talk to can bring to our show. But this one will be also just a little bit different too, because Teets, you could take our live link and join with us right on video through your camera, and we can kind of talk right here on the show, right live with you, and just have a couple of minutes conversation. I won't keep everybody for too long or anything, but it would be fun to, you know, kind of do that sort of thing as well too. So that's what we'll do next Saturday, and I'm working on another great garden roundtable. I've already got one guest. I'm working on a second guest. I'll get that posted as soon as that we get a second guest. So definitely be sure to keep an eye out. And I'll try to post more a little bit. This is something I've been trying to work on and trying to get better at, you know, but I'll try to post more on our community page here, you know, some of these upcoming things, and especially when I get the new show posted for next Sunday's Sunday edition of the show, because Sunday edition, like I said, we're here every Saturday and Sunday. So the Sunday edition is really fun. Again, we get to have these really fun gardening conversations, and we've been having plenty of these really fun garden roundtables with a couple of different gardeners talking about some really cool things. And I mentioned earlier, and again, you want to go back and check this one out for sure. A couple of weeks back, we got to hang out with our good friend. We were just mentioning like a Viking show. If you're not familiar, we had Nate Murray, who's a good friend of ours and been on the show and featured on the show a couple of different times on with us as well too. He's from the channel Garden Like a Viking, and so he was on. I brought him together with our good friend Mark Valencia, who was featured on the show earlier this year as well, from the big channel Self-Sufficient Me. I say big because he's got like 2.5 million or something like that subscribers. I've been following with him since he had just a small channel around 20-some thousand, and he's just really grown to become one of the big monster garden channels out there. And it's been so fun to watch him and his success. He's always really inspired me and everything in my gardens, especially from those early years and everything, just bringing some great garden inspiration from down under in Australia. So it was so awesome for him to come and be featured on our show. But that's one of the fun things about these garden roundtables we've been getting to do, is that we get some of these people who are joining with us, whether it's the Are You Following Me segment or our featured segment, and get them to come back and hang out together with other gardeners and just have a fun, just general fun gardening conversation where you all in the chat can join in as well and ask questions or leave some comments and just be a part of the conversation with all of us. It's been really, really fun. Just like last week on the show, we got to have Josh Gardens and Desiree join with us, both from the Josh from the Plant Techie and Des from Gardening with Des, joined with us last Sunday. That was a really fun conversation. We got to talk about how Des really just loves, and I just love about her content that she shares. She just shares this real passion for all the bugs living in our gardens, you know, and how some of them are essential, and these different, great pollinators and things like that, we get to recognize and notice in our gardens when we're growing these just really great thriving gardens. Comes a lot of these great garden bugs and spiders and, wasps and bees and just all sorts of great things that come with the garden. And Des is just really passionate about those things too. So we talked about that. Josh is really big in orcharding. He's got tons of great trees that he grows in his fruit trees and all of that he grows in his garden, as well as other gardens that he has as well too. So we touched and talked about that sort of stuff. We just had a really great fun gardening roundtable conversation. So again, you want to check out these Sunday shows. Tomorrow is our third Sunday of the month. The third Sunday of the month is usually our garden book club. We have a really great garden author that we invite to join us each month on the show. We feature one of their books and then have them on the show with us on the third Sunday. And our garden author didn't work out for this month to kind of finalize and have that conversation. So Mark and I kind of thought it'd be a good idea then is just to kind of have a kind of fun look back on our previous garden authors that we've had on the show throughout the year in our garden book club. So just kind of a fun kind of year-end review and talk about how to become a gardener, all the president's gardens, leave your trouble behind, ooh la la, garden variety, which actually I got to mention in the first segment today too, and how to forage for wild foods without dying, our first book of the month club that we had. So Mark and I will get together. We'll have Mark live with us tomorrow for a nice fun conversation with him in the garden as well. We'll kind of do a year-end review talking about those books and just kind of feature our conversations and look back on those for this year. And then we'll also announce next year's book. We've got all set up and we'll talk about that and announce who we're going to have for our next month's gardening book club. And again, too, that's again for our third Sunday of the month. We usually do that. And on our second Sunday of the month, we usually talk with, and again, we had our garden roundtable last week, but that's usually the second Sunday we would have a conversation with Gardener Scott from the Gardener Scott channel. But his schedule and just didn't line up for our last couple of months, but we do got him all set for our next month, for this December too. So we will have Gardener Scott for the second Sunday of the month this September coming up as well too. So you want to keep an eye out for that as well, and get to check in with him and see how well everything goes. I'm sure it's already really cold up there in Colorado where he's at too. So we'll talk about some, winter survival gardening. However, we'll come up with some really good stuff, and it's a great way for you to get some really good essential gardening questions that you need answered too. Some of those great questions. I see Serena always puts up some really great how to, or what should I do about certain varieties of different things and all of that. All these really great questions like that you can get answered coming up here on our next second Sunday of the month, where we'll have Gardener Scott. But until that time, we've got a couple, hopefully get them to put together here soon, and we'll have a couple of more fun garden roundtables as well too. So lots of great things going on here and growing on here on the Let's Get Growing show. Lots of you here too. Thank you so much for spending your time here with all of us on the show. And if you're here with us live right now too, before we go, I want you all to click the like button if you haven't yet already. If you haven't already, I'm sure a lot of you have already clicked that thumbs up button there and given us a like for our guests that we had on. We had some really great guests today on the show. And also, if you haven't, which I'd be really surprised, but maybe some of you are new to this show and are just catching up with us right now. But if you can, check out the link below too as well to subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification too, so you can be notified of all of our upcoming live streams and live shows that we have here again every Saturday and Sunday here at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, share with all of your friends. Let them know about the Let's Get Growing show, so we can get more and more great people join with us here in our conversation each and every week. And again, too, it's just so great to have all of you here with us. Follow the links down in the description below for sure. And also, I haven't mentioned this, I forgot last week as well, but make sure you can come and join. There's a link below in the description too to our Facebook, the Urban Gardener Community, our Facebook group, the Let's Get Growing group over there too is a great place for us to continue the conversation here, and to go over there and share some of the things that you've got growing on in your garden, or pictures, videos, questions, all that sort of stuff as well too there at the Let's Get Growing group, link down below. So we'd love to see you over there as well. Check out our sponsor Ivy Organics at ivyorganics.com. Get some of their 3-in-1 plant guard, and use our promo code GROW10, GROW10 in your purchase, and get 10% off there as well too. Right on. Again, too, so glad to have all of you here with me today. It's just, again, so awesome. We've had a really great show, and I'm, again, running kind of a little bit later than I usually do. We did get kind of off to a little bit of a later start, but you know what? little bit more show, a little bit more time to hang out with all of you is just fine by me, because it's so awesome to have all of you join with me here each and every weekend. And I look forward to seeing you guys this next week as well too, for some really fun shows. But again, we'll see all of you tomorrow, though. Again, remember, Sunday edition, and we'll have a really good fun conversation with Mark and everything as well too. So again, thank you all so much again for being with us here and spending your time with me here on the Let's Get Growing show. And again, see you tomorrow.